understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, August 4th, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have one new episode this week, one retro pick this week, and two excited hosts to talk about it. I don't know why I turned into a game show person.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sunday.
I always think Kool-Aid guy for some reason. That was just, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
We are bursting through your wall to spill our DC knowledge all over you and stain your carpet with our red, liquidy knowledge.
Yeah. Sure.
So Ed, it's August now.
It's August. By the way, everyone go out if you deserve a trip to the movies with the Teen Titans, because there's an animated film out there right now called Teen Titans Go to the movies, and I saw it and I really enjoyed it and I highly recommend it.
Teen Titans Go is one of the cartoons I unabashedly love. Does it capture that anarchic zeal?
Oh yes, definitely. In fact, like, it toes the line a little bit. Like, I was aware that this was a kids movie, and some of the humor, like especially the very last line of the movie, is a little risque.
Do they say F Batman?
No, they don't. Although Robin, you could tell Robin's thinking it the whole movie.
The Teen Titans Go Robin is so full of rage. I feel that, Robin. I feel that.
Yeah, I will say that one of the funniest bits is they have to sneak into the premiere of the new Batman movie called Batman Again. And they steal their seats, but Raven puts the Challengers of the Unknown into a rift. And like all of the hero drops in here. Every major and minor DC hero you can think of, they're all there. You got Metamorpho in the background. You've got Captain Marvel. You've got all the Hawkman, all those guys. And but my favorite bit is sitting through the trailers in Batman Again. Robin keep thinking that they're announcing a Robin movie. And instead, no, we're announcing an Alfred movie, and then a movie for the Batmobile, and then a movie for Batman's utility belt. And I would see Utility Belt the movie.
I was gonna say I would watch all of those. The Batmobile movie has to be directed by the Fast and the Furious people, right?
Yeah, of course. Justin Lin's all over that.
Has there been a Robin movie?
No, there is not.
Should there be?
Yes, there should. I mean, you should at least make Nightwing. Like Nightwing, like there should be a Dick Grayson movie. Let's put it that way. The fact that we haven't gotten a proper depiction, no offense, Chris O'Donnell. It's just like, and when I say it's not Chris O'Donnell's fault, they just happened to cast him, when he was like 35 years old to play a part that he should have been like 17.
Well, and it was a legendarily terrible movie. Just like I will go to my grave saying Brandon Routh was an excellent Superman in a real bad Superman movie. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah, yeah, I could agree with that. But we don't want to upset Uncle Jay, so we won't talk about that too much more. So, uh, so yeah, Teen Titans, go to the movies. I recommend it. You know, it's an animated movie. We usually cover live action here, but it's DC. You know, go out and show support, and maybe we'll get more stuff like it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm
yeah.
curious what the audience composition was when you were there. Was it kids? Was it adults? Were you the tallest person in the theater?
No, it was families. It was families. I was probably the only person there alone, which is fine. That's usually the case. But yeah, no, it was fine. It seemed a good mix, and it was getting laughs. It was good. It was good reaction. Yeah, but yeah. I think they made that movie for $10 million. Like, that was the reported budget, and it made $10 million opening weekend. So boom, you break even right off the bat. You know.
Good for that movie. I know myself. That's going to be a renter for us.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know. We're homebodies, so we're far less likely. I will say we just got a 4K player for a 4K television, and so now we're trying to find who in the area has 4K discs, because like Netflix doesn't have them. If you want to get on the physical disc plan, they're just, you either buy them or you try to find some place to rent them. So I have found myself at the local video store on Saturday night walking up and down the racks like it's 1996 again, and it's this weird. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I mean,
hang on a second. Back up. You still have video stores?
We do. We have one surviving chain. It is Family Video.
There's a chain?
There's a chain. There are 5 outlets in a 15-minute drive from me. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're hopping. I mean, I've never been the only person when I'm in there. There's always somebody else. And I always want to say to them, what are you doing here? I don't know what I'm doing here. Why are we renting physical media? It's 2018. And yet, it's the only place I can go to get my 4K like rentals, because I'm not going to drop money on a disc. I'm going to watch once and keep. That's crazy. Yeah, we have a video store and I go there. I walk the aisles. That is how I discovered the hurricane heist that I was mentioning off air, which I also recommend. It's not good, but it's a lot of fun.
Wow. Because I have not seen a video store in person in at least 6 or 7 years.
Really? You just have none?
None. Dead. Gone.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you have a lot of chains? Did you have a lot of chains where you were, or did you have a lot of independent?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a mix, but yeah, there were definitely chains, West Coast Video, other than Blockbuster. And then there was in Jersey, you had a lot of Hollywood Videos. And,
we had those. Those are gone.
Yeah, and all gone. Like, the last 2 blockbusters in Alaska closed. I think there's one in Oregon that they're talking about. I think they just sold a documentary about that too.
I remember seeing that in the news. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have multiple outlets of this chain. A couple of them have closed, but I can't explain it. It 100% has to be a front. I mean, they have to be getting money through some other means. How do you keep that many physical DVDs on a shelf to sit there and wait for people to come drive to you and get them? I don't know.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm just grateful because it's serving a need that I suddenly have, and all of a sudden had to figure out, where do I get these things? So that's the answer. A video store. Like I'm a high schooler walking around with my boyfriend and arguing about, do we want to watch Dennis Leary and The Ref? Or do we want to try that new Charlie Sheen flick? The Getaway.
No, Charlie Sheen in the 90s. No. Except maybe the version, the movie he did with Chris O'Donnell, the Disney Three Musketeers. I do have fond memories of that. That might be a movie I loved when I was 8 that probably sucks. But
yeah, some things, if you love them that much, never revisit. Don't ever look back.
But yeah, all right.
Well, that's been a tight 10 on video stores. Good night, folks.
You want you want to jump into the episode?
Yes, please.
All right, here we go. Preacher, Season 3, Episode 6, Les Enfants du Sang. Eugene found himself in an orphanage and was quickly adopted by the Saint of Killers. Jesse and Tulip plan to rob a bank to get soul power for the weakening grandma. A frustrated and split-headed Hair Star received a personal visit from the Allfather. Cassidy learned more about Icarius and his group of followers, Les Enfants du Sang. Last-minute reveal, after a day full of crack smoking, Cassidy went back to Mrs. Rosen's house for some vampire rituals and blondies.
I mean, after a day of crack smoking, don't you always want blondies?
Yes.
Yes.
I wouldn't know, honestly. I don't know. Does that give you the munchies, or does that just make you want to go to sleep? I don't know.
I don't know. And honestly, if you know, I guess tweet at us.
No, that's okay. We don't need to know. We don't need to know. We don't need to know.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. So, bank robbery. I enjoyed the heist of it all.
Yeah.
Tulip in a blonde wig. Good look for her.
Yeah. Before we go there, I think let's start from the top, and say we finally got to see Eugene for 3 minutes, and still no Hitler.
I love how focused you are on Hitler.
Well, I just figure, they've been part of the promos for the whole season, and we're now 6 episodes in, and we haven't met one of the major characters from the rest of the show. And we finally got to see Eugene, but it was so short, and unlike the last couple of weeks, they did not go back at the end. I thought, they were going to do what they did the week before and just kind of like you see him at the beginning, at the end, and they never went back to Eugene.
Yeah, it was weird, not pacing, maybe placement. To have so little Eugene at the very top and then not circle back. I almost wonder if that was meant to be in next week's episode, which I believe is called Hitler, which would indicate probably Hitler. It makes me wonder if maybe that was supposed to be there, but it got shuffled for some reason. It just felt a little dropped in and then forgotten in a strange way. Also, in a show that asks us to suspend a lot of disbelief, I had a really, really hard time with the Texas Department of Children and Family Services making some of the decisions that they made in this episode. I just can't suspend my disbelief far enough to believe that they would let the Saint of Killers walk out with a child. He could not have passed any background checks. He absolutely cannot have passed the home visit. There's no way.
You think
it really bothered me?
You think they did background checks?
What? It's a child welfare agency. Those places typically have some boxes to check.
For someone who wants
in Texas.
For someone who wants to adopt a 16-year-old?
I think you should really do a background check in that case.
Listen, we really didn't even want to have to take this kid in. We probably should have just let him emancipate himself and sent him on his way. You want to just take him off our hands. It's less paperwork. Just fine. Here you go.
I'm just saying in this whole show, that's the one thing that I was like, wait a second. No, sir. No, sir.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't sure any of it was real. That whole sequence felt like a dream state. Even when he was in the orphanage, I wasn't sure if that was actually happening or if that was all in Eugene's mind. It might have been more complicated than that, but I'm sure with Saint of Killers on Satan's payroll, he could have done some magical. He might have handed him some persuasion juice or something.
Yeah, I wondered if there was if we had seen him have some kind of hypnotism or like a Doctor Who psychic paper kind of situation, I would have been satisfied with it. It is a silly hill for me to die on, and yet, also in our new house, we sit a little closer to the TV than we did when we were watching last season Preacher. And this is the first real Eugene we've gotten this season, and I gotta say, sitting even a couple of feet closer to the TV screen, his makeup is horrible in the best way. It is so gross up close. I don't know. It made me regret my nearer birth to the television, because they really have gone a long way with it's so bad. Poor Eugene.
Yeah, well, I think also
in a good way. Like I'm saying, it's great makeup.
Oh yeah, but I think also this is the first time you've gotten that much of a close up to him. So
maybe it wasn't. For me, I was like, oh God, is this where I'm sitting now? Or maybe that was just they really gave it to us this season.
Yeah, no, they did that extreme close up, like right in his face. They don't usually do that with that character.
Well, props to the makeup department. It was terrible.
Yeah, it is. Oh man, I forgot what he sounded like. That he needed the subtitles and everything. Yeah. And we don't hear it for a while. You're not used to it. Eventually, when you're around Eugene, you don't need the subtitles as much because you're used to what he sounds like and you can kind of peek through. But I needed those subtitles this episode.
Oh man, if they follow his arc in the comic book, I cannot wait to hear how you react. It won't happen this season, but if they do it next season and beyond.
Okay. But back to Jesse and Tulip.
Yes.
I loved the bank heist.
Me too.
I'm always a sucker for heists. I'm a big fan of con movies. But this scene in particular I thought was well crafted. And they did something different with it. Also the fact of what they were stealing. I thought was really interesting. And I as good thieves as Tulip and Jesse were, I think that TC and Jody, particularly TC, just stole that.
Literally.
Yes. When he said we can buy you a couple more minutes, I mean, oh my God.
The pixelation was impressive. Good for TC. And the cops. It's TC. I mean, yeah, the whole thing. I liked that it showed them acting as a team, and everybody was just at the top of their game. I always like it when they show Jesse and Tulip being smart. They can be violent and they can be reactive and they can be angry, but I love it when they're strategic and smart and just good at what they do, even if what they do is, super illegal. I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah. But the thing that astonishes me the most is that TC's and Jody have done that before. It's not the first time that they're doing that.
Yes.
and B, that the cops actually find that a more pressing concern than the bank robbery that's going on. They hear that, and it's not even that they have to think for a second. It's no, they've got to stop TC.
I'm surprised they didn't have we've got a code 81, it's TC. Also, Did you notice, was I seeing things, or at the bank, was Tulip's picture on the, a do not serve most wanted type list at the bank?
Oh, it was. Oh, it definitely was.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that too. How much do you think what do you think was the upcharge on the saliva detector at the bank?
It made me wonder if that's is that a thing? Is that a
no?
Did they have does the intern have to clean that every night?
You gotta have a lot of sanitizer.
I've always been kind of squicked out by the optics of reading eye Prince, just, a laser in the eye, but spitting into...
Yeah. Herr Starr, we found out why he's been wearing hats the last couple episodes.
And a great cry rose up from the comic readers because, yep, his head looks like a penis. And he's still playing the hat game, which I'm enjoying. He's trying to find, his look. He's trying to find his signature Herr Starr. I have to cover this thing on my head. Look, he's going to get there. I'm pulling for him.
Yeah. And do you think he was more afraid when he saw Allfather in the room, or when Allfather had the horse drug brought in for them to eat?
Is Herr Starr ever actually afraid? I genuinely, no, I'm serious. I feel like he has such disdain for everything and everybody that it sort of makes him immune or above it all in a way. I mean, I obviously the Allfather is all powerful, but I don't know. I feel like fear is not a natural state for Herr Starr. But no, the horse. Probably the horse.
Yeah. I mean, fear... it's also because, he knows he has to be careful. Mm-hmm. And he knows, this guy has the power to shut me down. I've got to grit my teeth and bear it. But, that smile looked to me like he was not sure he was going to get out of that situation.
Well, for me, the real panic came at the very end when the Allfather says we need to talk about Jesse Custer. And that's where I thought he started to lose that Herr Starr cool.
Yeah. And that is because, we all know, I think it's evident that is his plan because he doesn't believe in Hunt Purdue. He thinks that Jesse can take that place.
Which, he's not wrong.
Mm-hmm. Also,
just that Hunt Purdue is not suitable and Jesse would be far, far better.
Mm-hmm. Also, I was kind of surprised to know that to find that Herr didn't even know that what the Allfather's real plan was, or at least what God's real plan was, so that it was a nuclear war and was going to be the preview before they brought Hunt Purdue out.
I think it's a nice reminder of where he is in the hierarchy of the Grail, that he's a big deal, but he's not the big deal. Although he's now in the loop, so clearly he's pretty high up. But I like that little subtle reinforcement about how it all works. Also, the number of people who had called the Grail, including Xi Jinping, Robert Mueller, and Meghan Markle, amazing. Yeah, and I think the Cassidy storyline. Yes.
So is Icarius just pulled right out of an Anne Rice novel?
Anne Rice's vampires, to my knowledge, never unhinged their jaw and swallowed an owl whole. But yeah, other than that is straight up like Lestat.
I gotta tell you, that sounds like something Armand would have done. I'm just saying,
Armand deep throating owls. It's fine. David Talbot in his new vampire body would have been like, look what I can do. This is awesome. Oh, deep cut Anne Rice. Let's do it. Can we talk really quickly about how terribly miscast Antonio Banderas was as Armand in Interview with the Vampire from 1994? I'm still mad about it. Still mad about it.
Really? Because that's the only interaction I have with that series. I kind of think back on that movie fondly.
Oh, no, I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. Armand is an 18-year-old, probably even younger than that. And Antonio Banderas, while beautiful, was not 18. Super miscast. I read, loved, memorized, lived, breathed the books. So when they announced the movie, it was a religious experience for me, waiting for news and seeing the first picture of Tom Cruise in a National Enquirer in advance of the movie was holy and exciting. So this was a thing. This is more than anybody needed to know about my reading habits in high school.
That's another rabbit hole we'll fall down one day.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, no, but yes, very, very much. That Icarius is me in 1994 reading Anne Rice. That's totally what that aesthetic is. Absolutely. But I gotta say, he's kind of a better vampire than Cassidy in some ways. He can turn into a cat, Ed.
Yeah, and I think at least he's showing that there's more to that lifestyle, that it doesn't necessarily have to be a death sentence the way Cassidy kind of treats it.
I think last week I made an offhanded comment about grumpy vampires always being grumpy. I kind of like that Icarius is like, nah, this is the bomb-ass lifestyle. Let's do this. We just have so many grumpy, sad, oh, I'm condemned. I'm Edward Cullen. It's all terrible. Ugh. I like that he's, there's no FOMO in him. He's doing it. Icarius is a good vampire. He could have better followers. His followers are kind of ridiculous. Other than that,
yeah, I didn't know whether to feel bad for Dang or just like, because he seemed really, really stupid, just like most of the other people in that.
Yes.
And and I personally thought Icarius was full of crap in his explanation to Cassidy for why he does what he does. That it just seems like he was kind of making excuses to himself. But
oh yeah, that's fair, I think.
But I do think it's interesting that that he thinks that the difference is that he brings in nicer people, and which is kind of an interesting contrast to what happened to Cassidy and his son last season.
Yeah, no, I agree. That would be an interesting dynamic, and I say would be. I think it probably will be an interesting dynamic to continue to explore in a different show. The two of them forming more of a partnership and doing their own thing would be interesting to watch, because I think they'd probably be good for each other, kind of light and dark and balance and counterbalance and things like that. I don't think this is a show that's going to necessarily explore that much of a tangent with him, but I like the different approaches. It's just a cool comparison. Also, I watched What We Do in the Shadows this weekend again, and it was also kind of fun to see more vampires, because that's the peak vampire movie, I think. So that's so lots of vampires for me this weekend. Yay.
Was there anything more you wanted to say?
Tulip calling Cassidy, I thought was maybe the meanest thing she'd ever done. And she didn't mean it to be. I think she was trying to keep him in the fold and reach out and be kind. I don't think that was kind. I don't think you can say I don't love you and then call him like it's normal. So I see why he did what he did, because that was not cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so two more quick things before we move on from this show. The Jesse killing Madam Boyd. What's up with that?
I mean, it looked like he was kind of just putting her out of her misery. I don't think there was anything more that he could have done to save her at that point. I think that's how he was saving her. It's like, okay, she's going to die. I can at least stop Grandma from taking her soul.
Or keep her from being in the tombs or something like that. I guess Grandma I guess the souls are consumed and not returnable. So I suppose that makes sense. It just was a little more abrupt and cold-blooded than Jesse's been this season. He's done what he had to do. That one it really did shock me that that's what happened.
Yeah, I'd be interested to understand like what soul consumption does to your afterlife.
Yes.
Like if maybe he was giving her a shot at heaven. Whereas like if she gotten taken in by Grandma, she would have been, in hell or someplace worse. Maybe he was just kind of saving her from that fate.
But I was surprised to see her go so quickly. I thought she was an interesting character with interesting motivation. So I'm sad that we won't get her anymore But, you know, it was a shocking moment. The other thing I wanted to mention was, I don't know if this is foreshadowing, but I wonder if it's foreshadowing. Tulip is kind of upset that Jesse wasn't more upset that she had died. And Jesse says, it's the third time you died, Tulip. I'm all out of tears. And it made me wonder, is that not the last time? You know, is there going to be more? Is there going to be something more permanent? Is there, you know, it just made me wonder if it was foreshadowing. I don't know if this is a show that would do that to us.
Well, I don't know. Again, just, you know, it almost seemed like they were calling on it, like when they were calling themselves out, just basically, yeah, we know we've killed her 3 times. You know, like we're not going to do that again. Maybe maybe they'll just do something. You know, maybe it's got to be the kind of thing where like he dies and she brings him back.
Ooh. All kinds of interesting things, but we don't have that many episodes left.
No, at least not this season. Yeah. Speaking of which, is there any news on Preacher? Has there been any any wins
there
on
really
renewal?
Hasn't.
Or
nope, nothing about renewal that I've seen. The show just is chugging along, and you know, there's just not been much in the news about it.
All right. Was there anything more you wanted to say about the episode?
Next week, Hitler. Woohoo!
Hitler, yay! All right. All right, then let's move into news for other shows. What do we got?
Okay. Well, let's, as always, start in the CW realm with the Arrowverse, starting with Arrow. Okay, so some tidbits on season 7. The theme will be redemption. We will meet the big bosses at Argus, the people to whom Lila reports. The Team Arrow will still be fractured. The new people have not reconciled with the old people as a cohesive unit yet. We'll get more about Wild Dog's backstory. And Diaz will be an even bigger threat.
Oh, okay.
Also, Agent Watson, played by Sidel Noel, will return.
All right. One thing to watch out for with the Argus higher-ups, I would be interested to see if one of them is a character named Sarge Steele.
He sounds like a no-nonsense military guy.
Yes, yeah, but he's usually involved in those high-level covert ops stuff. So, you know, it'd be an interesting Easter egg to see if they throw him in there. And I think he has a metal arm. Sure.
Oh, cool.
If I'm remembering that properly, I know he definitely has a cigar though.
Of course. I do think if we're going to get more Argus, I think that's kind of interesting because it would indicate more of a like that military official presence.
Yeah.
So I mean that kind of tells you maybe what's going on in Star City.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's it for Arrow. Moving on to The Flash. We have some casting. Looks like we're going to see Caitlin's dad. We're going to be exploring the roots of her Killer Frost persona. Seems to stem to her childhood. So casting notes for her dad call him an intelligent geneticist who's been MIA for decades. So I'm sure we will hear more from that as we unfold that. And Caitlin's mom will also come back for season 5. Susan Walters played her before and will play her again. She is every mom. She is Teen Wolf mom. She is Vampire Diaries mom. She is everybody's mom. So more Caitlin news.
I think my grandfather, rest in peace, had a thing for Susan Walters.
Well, he had a good eye and discerning taste in that case.
She did there was I think it was The Big Easy. It was a syndicated version of a mediocre Dennis Quaid movie. But
Dennis Quaid in The Big Easy was not mediocre, Cher.
Oh, that accent was, oh my God. Ellen Barkin was good in that movie though.
I thought that was a sexy movie.
I don't know. Maybe Yeah, it was a steamy movie, but Dennis Quaid's like really long out there Nolan's accent
I thought it was great.
was just like, oh my god,
Ed, when did you lose your capacity for joy?
You're trying so hard, man. Oh man, like every part of that movie is great. Every part of that movie is solid. And just Dennis Quaid's accent is like, oh wow, just because like that's not his real accent, and he's going out so much. Wow, you're trying real hard, man. You're swinging. You're not even gonna try to do like the, all right, I'm gonna be really subtle and let it kind of like poke out here. It's like, no, I'm gonna go for the thick New Orleans, yeah. Like, ooh man. So yeah, they did a TV version of that. Susan Walters, I think, played the Ellen Barkin part. Huh. And my grandpa really liked that show.
I hope the accents were better for his sake. So, if I may make a casting suggestion, Susan Walters in real life is married to Lyndon Ashby, perhaps known to listeners of this podcast as Johnny Cage in 1995's Mortal Kombat. He was also in Teen Wolf as a different parent, not affiliated with Susan Walters, but he would be a great, intelligent MIA geneticist. I'm just saying, keep it in the family.
Okay. All right.
Styles is dad in Teen Wolf. Come on. You want to see it. All right. Moving on to Supergirl. Ed, I feel like every bit of news I have here is tailor-made for you. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
First, we have casting news for the vice president. He will be played by Brent Spiner.
Oh, now we're talking.
And hopefully he will be fully functional.
Brent Spiner.
You're welcome. I'm still not over that.
Brent Spiner from Night Court?
Brent Spiner from the cruelly canceled one-season phenomenon Threshold?
Brent Spiner from Outcast?
Brent Spiner from the hit Hollywood movie Independence Day?
Resurgence? That Brent Spiner?
Okay, fine. Brent Spiner.
I'm familiar with his work.
Star Trek. He's probably so grateful for any role that doesn't require him to cake on like white pancake makeup.
Yeah. I actually wonder, was it more bothersome to like keep dyeing his hair jet black for 10 years, for 10 years afterwards.
Anyway, Brent Spiner is going to recur as the vice president. I mentioned this to Ed off the air, but boy, I hope he's evil, because I like an evil Brent Spiner.
I don't know. I mean, he's evil on Outcast, which I think season 2 is airing right now. So go check that out if you want to see an evil Brent Spiner. Even if he's just a bad guy, I guess that'd be okay. But hey,
I guess maybe even not evil, but maybe just morally complicit in something unsavory, perhaps.
Yeah, but that sounds like fun. This is cool. This is good news.
Yeah.
All right.
More news. We have casting news for Mercy Graves and Otis Graves.
Ooh, Mercy Graves. Mercy Graves, a character he was Lex Luthor's bodyguard, actually created for Superman the Animated Series, and then later was integrated into comics. Yeah, another one of those characters. And Otis, is this meant to be like Ned Beatty Otis from Superman the movie?
Could the word bumbling be applied to Ned Beatty's Otis?
Oh yes.
Then
yes, Mr. Luthor. Mr. Luthor. Otisburg? It's just a small place. Otisburg? Miss Tessmacher has her own place. Otisburg! Yeah.
So, those two characters, they've made them brother and sister. And they will be played by Rona Mitra and Robert Baker. Okay. Rona Mitra, I can totally see as a bodyguard. She is a steely chick. Robert Baker, I feel like we've seen in a million things. Nothing really pops out to me, but he's handsome. So I don't know if it's going to be the same bumbling doofus. I mean, handsome men can be bumbling doofuses. I don't mean to say you can't be handsome and also a bumbler, but I wonder if it'll be the same vibe. Anyway, last bit of news for Supergirl. Kevin Smith is on board to direct his 4th Supergirl episode in this upcoming season.
I am happy. I concur.
I figured you would be. This just felt like very Ed-friendly news. Okay. Next CW show, Legends of Tomorrow. An interview with Katie Lotz. She said that the show will deal with Quentin's death, although it's tough because their show is just funnier and lighter overall, so that makes it really, difficult to do in the same way that you would on a different one. And then she said something that I thought was really interesting, which is that the shows on the CW are steering away from affecting one another because it's so complicated to pull off. And I thought that was probably the most interesting news of the week. Don't stop listening, please. Just keep going. But, just the fact that the CW shows have said, we have to stop doing these storylines that have ripple effects through all the other shows. I think it's a shame. Actually, in some ways, I liked the way you would see cause and effect on different hours of television. But I get it.
Yeah, I mean, you do want everything to stand on its own. I just think maybe it's integrated to the point now where they're worried that people will start feeling left out if they keep referencing each other like that.
Yeah. And there's more of them. I mean, you've added Black Lightning. If you also add Batgirl, is it going to be, sorry, Batwoman, is it going to be too much? At some point, do people say, I just can't keep up and just give up? So.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. All right. Last little bit of news for Legends. We will get more of Zari's backstory this upcoming season. We'll see some parallels to today with stories about the xenophobia that she has faced in her time as a Muslim and things like that. So, as always, Legends should be awesome next season. Moving on to Black Lightning. The showrunner Salim Akil promises more metahumans in the second season. Makes sense. The first arc is the rise of the Greenlight babies. So that would indicate that the Greenlight babies probably have a little something going on, meta-wise.
Yeah.
And Chantal Thuy, who plays, of course, Grace Choi, will be coming back in season 2 as well.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't get enough of her in season 1, and I'd like to see more.
Definitely. I concur.
Yeah. Okay, another Ed piece of news here from Krypton, and that is that Cameron Cuff, who plays Seg, says that his character will interact with Lobo quite a bit. And the way he said it seemed to indicate that was newsworthy, that those two characters would share a lot of scenes. Ed, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, if he's going to be on the show, it would make sense for him to interact with the main character. But yeah, just, I mean, the fact that Lobo's on the show is crazy enough. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be fun. And, I hope that means that he's going to be an integral part of the story, when he does show up. I just, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. It sounds like it. Let's see. The showrunners also hope to introduce a version of the Eradicator. It sounds like it probably won't be this season. They've already broken the first half, and the second half, they probably wouldn't have room for that. But someday we might see the Eradicator. It's not it's the. It's a person. It's a thing.
Yeah, the Eradicator was. I'm trying to figure out an easy way to explain this. If you remember when in the Death of Superman, there were 4 different Supermen who showed up. The Eradicator was the one with the neon glasses, and the yellow beams that shot out, and he was basically an entity, a Kryptonian entity that was meant to protect the last son of Krypton, and kind of goes haywire when he's not around anymore. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be interesting to see. And it is part of Kryptonian lore. So if they, however they integrate them, it does make sense for them to bring up that character. It's just like, if it's going to be more than a season, like, I wish they hadn't brought him up now, but okay, that's cool.
Well, but I feel like they play this game a lot. Oh yeah, we're going to give you, we hope to do all kinds of things. Tune in, season 18, we'll give you the Lantern Corps. They seem to have really big plans.
Yeah, they keep teasing us with those lanterns. I don't like that. I don't like that. Like, that's the one like major section of the DCU that like hasn't come into TV yet. To live
It's
action
Ryan
TV.
Reynolds' fault.
Well, you said it. Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on to Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol.
Okay. We have casting news for Crazy Jane. She will be played by Diane Guerrero, who is on Jane the Virgin and Orange is the New Black. She's an actress I have always really enjoyed in those things, so I still am a little skeptical about a character called Crazy Jane in this, the year of our Lord 2018. But I like the actress. I trust DC mostly, so cool.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna find that those kinds of characters are gonna be a running theme in this show. So I'm sure that they will handle it respectfully.
Okay. Okay, good. Because really, we don't need more bitches be crazy stereotypes out there. So.
And is she just going to be in the series, or is she appearing in the Titans episode that they're in?
I have not seen news about her. With Elastigirl, that definitely she's going to be Titans and then hopping over to Doom Patrol. I haven't seen the same thing about Crazy Jane. Doesn't mean she won't, just means I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, all right, so that's something to watch out for.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving on to Watchmen. We have leaked set photos showing the 1921 Tulsa race riots when the KKK attacked the people of color in town. And, you see people in period clothes, period storefronts, things like that. So it looks like we're not going to get a strictly set in the present show. It's going to include at least a flashback.
Okay. All right. I'm guessing something happens there. Because that's like before even superheroes became popular in that world. So maybe that may be the first instance where like a recorded incident of superpowers or being detected.
Or high profile vigilantism, or the article on Heroic Hollywood suggests that it might relate to Hooded Justice. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that his costume has always been a little bit KKK-ish to some minds. And so perhaps this could link to that. But I think that is pretty heavy speculation on the article's part. So who knows what it's going to be. But again, the attention to detail, the set, the clothes, the whole thing just looks like HBO is not skimping on the show that they have not ordered to series yet.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Last bit of news is about Y.
Music
is the Y the Last Man project that is going to hit FX just under the name Y. Casting news: Timothy Hutton will play the president. I think Timothy Hutton would make a great president. I think his role will be short-lived because the premise.
He's a man.
Get him out. So yeah, Timothy Hutton, president. And then the showrunners did an interview, and they first of all assured us that Ampersand the monkey will be a character on the show.
Good.
I pause for Ed's reaction.
Yeah, like I mean, the news would be that he wasn't going to be on the show. Like, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, come on. You cannot have Yorick without Ampersand.
I was going to say, that would be an effective way to get every fan of the comics to turn against you. No, we're not. We're going to scrap the monkey. We're not going to do the monkey.
I don't want to have to pay for a monkey wrangler.
An animal trainer.
Yeah.
No diapers for that monkey. No. The other thing the interview talked about was the reason they changed it from Y the Last Man to just Y is short titles generally work better. They're catchier. And they said it's graphically interesting to use the letter Y in marketing materials. So I'm excited to see what they come up with to promote and how they're going to play with the letter Y in that. I feel like Sesame Street, the letter Y. I also wonder, they didn't say this, but you've got Last Man on Earth, you've got Last Man Standing. Did they not want another Last Man to muddy the waters? They didn't say that, but it seems possible.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be plausible. As far as the graphic design stuff, I'm sure our executive producer, Bill Sweeney, I'd be interested to see his thoughts on that. Yeah, why? So shorter titles are better. I'm surprised that we don't have many more like one letter TV shows. The only one I could think of is V.
I was going to say it's V.
Yeah.
It was a formative time in my life when that first human-skinned alien peeled off the skin to reveal the lizard skin underneath and then ate a mouse. That really stuck with me. I was very young. Shouldn't have been watching that. That was upsetting.
I was probably the same age watching it rerun on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Was it upsetting to you as well?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Did it blow your mind at one point when they had the human skin peel away to reveal the lizard skin, and then they peeled that away because it was humans in disguise as aliens in disguise as humans? Oh my God. This show just gives and gives and gives.
And then canceled.
And then revived again in the aughts. And then canceled.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, is that like the fate of that franchise? Is that it can never have a proper ending?
Yes. We don't deserve nice things in our sci-fi shows. But yeah, if executive producer Bill Sweeney would like to get us 3 or 4 takes on why on our desks by end of business, that would be great.
All right. And
so much for news.
So yeah, all right. Ready for our retro pick. You ready?
Yes, please.
You ready, Sarah? All right. Here we go. Batman, the animated series. Episode aired September 29th, 1992. Fear of Victory. A curious number of prominent athletes, including Dick Grayson's roommate Brian Rogers, began suffering tremendous panic attacks during games. Robin suffered a fear attack and had to push through while helping Batman track the Scarecrow. Last minute reveal, Bruce and Dick were pleased to see the Gotham Knights draft Brian Rogers in the first round.
So, what happened here was Ed tricked me into watching an episode about sports betting. You should have seen me. Wait a second. Is Ed making me watch things about sports? What is happening?
Well, the Supreme Court did just allow states to legalize sports gambling. And I thought it only prescient.
They may as well have called it the Scarecrow Protection Act, keeping us safe
from Leon the bookie.
So I did not know what this was going to be about. I should have known with Fear. I should have put it together, but I had no idea. And I didn't know Robin is not a person I've met yet in Batman, the animated series. So I didn't know who the handsome dude hanging out in his dorm room in a sweater vest was.
Oh, okay.
It was a fun reveal for me. I enjoyed peeling the layers back. Oh my God, it's Robin.
Yeah, it's funny because like Robin is definitely a part of this series. As you could tell, most episodes are solo Batman, but Robin does pop up now and then. And this is one great thing about this series is that they didn't mess around by like showing Batman just starting out. Like this shows he's already established, he's been around for a while. Robin is older. This is not a young Robin. This is Robin like as he's in college. Not too far off from moving on to Nightwing. But he is an important character. We are going to see much more from him later on in the series.
Well, that's good because in the very beginning, when it looked really bad for them on the side of the building, I did whisper to my husband, "Is this how Jason Todd dies?"
Oh, no.
And he laughed and laughed.
No. But I do like that this episode is pretty much from a lot of it's from Robin's perspective. And this is a great way to introduce that character into the dynamic. I even like when he's trying to test himself in the Batcave, he talks about, I grew up on a high wire. Like this stuff should be easy for him.
Yeah, I thought the storytelling in this, and I shouldn't say this like I'm surprised because this show does this so well, but it had a lot of information to impart, and I thought it did it really gracefully. You know, they introduced us to backstories, and they sort of explained the different dynamics of people in a way that I thought was really, really subtle and well done. Also, those jewel thieves were super cool with destroying architecture. It's like you're there to steal jewels, not destroy Art Deco treasures. Calm down.
Yeah. And yeah, that scene, the bastards. You got him in the end though. And you can tell by the way that he hooked him on. One of those guys, when he pulled off the column and like slammed it down onto the ground, onto the roof, one of those guys' arms had to have gotten crushed. Like he broke that guy's arm.
That's got to be really bad to be a henchman in Gotham.
Yeah, you don't mess around. You don't mess around. Although Scarecrow didn't have any help. He was going solo this week.
Scarecrow was scary. Like that, it's hard to do scary, I think. Especially in what is ostensibly a kids show animated. It was scary. His face is, Joker is Joker, and that's fine. But I thought the Scarecrow was unsettling.
Yeah. More than a kid show.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, they're not going to do. You can do R-rated horror in cartoon form. They're not doing that on this show, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. They still made it real scary.
Oh yeah, and that was frightening. I go back and forth. Like, do you think his face was scarier than Two-Face's last week?
I do, actually.
Yeah,
It's a good question.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Two-Face for some, maybe it's because he has, the normal half, so it's only half as bad. Yeah, there's just something super inhuman about him that I did think that anytime a superhero, even a superhero sidekick, has to say to himself, get it together before going into a fight, maybe he should have been benched. Maybe Batman should have been like, nah, sit this one out, kid.
Nah, but like, see, that's the thing with Batman. He knows if I bench him, I'm never gonna get him back out there again. If I push him and he works through it and comes out the other end, he's gonna be all the better for it. And that
so tough love.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. Quick technical difficulties, but we got through it. So hey, Sarah, how's it going?
Hey, since we last spoke, good.
Okay,
it's 15 seconds ago that we last spoke.
So we were just talking about Batman's tough love for Robin. Yeah, I think that's good coaching.
Well, and I guess it shows that he trusted Robin to work through it, and he trusted Robin maybe also to know if it was going to be too much. So it shows the faith that he put into him.
Yeah, and I think it also shows how advanced their relationship is. Because you're establishing, like, this isn't a Batman and Robin who are, just getting used to working together. This is a Batman and Robin who've been working together for a couple of years and have that bond with each other. And, even though Dick's maybe not in the best shape, Bruce still believes that he has his back, that they have each other's backs.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's nice that they don't do a previously on Batman, the animated series. Hey, Batman, I'm Dick Grayson. It's nice that they just sort of drop us into this world and here are these fully formed people doing their thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought in some ways this felt like a season finale almost, because as you're going through Arkham, you're kind of walking past all the people Batman's been putting away. You see Joker, you see Poison Ivy. It was just kind of fun to see vanquished foes. It felt like the kind of thing you do in a season finale.
Yeah. And interesting note here, Mark Hamill voices the Joker in this, and I think he does a couple of other background characters. But there is one back, the henchman that the bookie sends after Scarecrow is voiced by Tim Curry.
I saw that, and I thought it was a weirdly small part for Tim Curry.
Well, it's because Tim Curry was originally cast as the Joker and actually recorded about, I think, 7 episodes as the Joker, and it wasn't working out. And when they hired Mark Hamill to redub all of his episodes and then take over the part.
Do you think those men hate each other to this day?
I have no idea. I mean, the episodes I've heard with Hamill, it doesn't sound like there's any hard feelings.
Well, sure, he got the role. You know, Tim Curry has a Hamill voodoo doll or something like every night. Pins.
I think that happens more often than we know. In animation, anyway. I think there are a lot of times where they have people do voiceover parts and they end up going with someone else because it has a better vibe.
Well, and it's probably pretty easy to do, you know, all things considered.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to change the subject. I feel like, just like we have a winner of the week, I feel like I want to start doing my favorite Kevin Conroy thing in each episode. And this week, it was Kevin Conroy's irritated growl. I don't know. He, at some point, was just so irritated, and he verbalized about it, and it was perfect. Kevin Conroy is perfect. Also, that lady is all of us when Batman comes crashing through your window. Like, first you're shocked, and then you're like, Batman's in my living room. How you doing?
I actually love the quick little smirk that he gives her as he's walking.
I know, and Batman is not immune to that. Batman knows. Batman is not unaware of his effect on women.
All right.
Okay, no, Ed, we have to address one more thing.
Yeah?
Why does Batman have a room full of cats in cages for science? Why does he have a room full of cats in cages?
Well, I mean, instead of paying for lab rats, you know, he just keeps a couple of, there's stray cats all around the neighborhood. He just, picks up a handful and, he wasn't.
You know who else does that? Serial killers. This is not okay. Don't normalize this, Ed. Batman has a room full of cats in cages. It's not okay. It's weird.
I mean, it wasn't toxic. He knew it wasn't going to kill her. Plus, like, maybe he's just trying to understand Selena Kyle better. Like, he just wants to get a better read on Catwoman. Find out what she's all about.
If he knew her at all, he has to know that when she finds out about that, she will not be pleased.
Yeah. No, I suppose not. But like, that's the thing, like, for that test to show you can, because like, if you're going to test that on a rat, what is he going to throw in there? A bug? Like, what's going to, like, the fact that he tested on a cat and then puts the mouse in there, and like that was the perfect reaction. Like, oh, okay, it's feeding time. And then all of a sudden, he gets scared and curls into a ball. Like,
I see your point in terms of natural predator/enemies. Mm-hmm. What other dynamics do you have that are quite as clearly drawn?
Yeah. I actually thought that you were going to talk about, about the football uniforms. Because that was what threw me here. And that's one of the things that I remember very distinctly from this, is that they're wearing like the 30s leather helmets. Like they wore in football like the 30s and 40s before they had face masks.
I still remember how horrified my grandpa was the first time he saw my brother in his high school football uniform. You got so much padding on. When we played football, we wore sweaters. And I think that was basically his uniform, was what they were wearing. The Gotham Knights.
Yeah, it's that weird aesthetic. Where it's like, it's 40s architecture and costume design, but modern technology, or actually like, technology from like 20 years from now.
It's honestly my favorite part of every Batman interpretation.
Yeah. What's interesting is like the Superman series goes in the opposite direction, where it's kind of like there's flying cars and everything's really bright, and it's almost like what the 1940s thought the future was going to be.
Huh. Will that be next summer's rewatch?
Ooh, one step at a time.
Okay. Sorry.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. For all we know, there might be 2 shows to cover next summer. We don't want to. But yeah. So yeah, Batman, Robin. We get to meet Robin. We get to meet the Scarecrow. This was a good episode. I was really happy.
It was. It was fun. It was different. It was a different kind of villain motivation. The whole thing was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you ready to find out next week's episode?
Yes.
All right. So our retro pick for next week is we're jumping to Volume 2. If you're following on Amazon Prime, and it's Volume 2, Episode 6, which is titled Perchance to Dream.
Ooh.
Perchance to Dream.
We're getting all literary up in here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So now that we did the news, we did the retro pick, we covered Preacher, seems like there's one thing left, and that is the winner of the week.
I struggled this week, Ed. No one person or theme really jumped out at me, so I'm gonna fall back to one of my happy places, and that is cats. Cats are my winner of the week. Not only can you turn into an adorable fluffy cat if you're a vampire on Preacher, but if you're Batman in the animated series, you save the day by experimenting on cats. But like in a humane way, according to Ed. So yeah, cats save the day. Cats serve a dual purpose if you're a vampire. You can lure people in, I guess, with your fluffy fur. Cats won the week for me.
So my winner are diversionary tactics. Most notably, TC running half naked with a goat. Oh, the petting zoo.
It was a good diversion.
I mean, it's the one thing where like you see Jody and TC roll up out of the bank. You see Jesse and Tulip running out of the bank. You see Jody coming out of after slaughtering everybody at the motel, and then just that one cutaway to TC. Oh, that killed me. Oh, that smile, oh man.
I mean, that was a man enjoying pure freedom.
We can buy you a few more minutes. Oh, all right. Well, I guess that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare, TBD.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And be sure to follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and check out our sister shows, The Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!